Welcome back. Schönen guten Nachmittag an euch alle. Welcome. In honor of our next speaker, I'll do the introduction in English, and I can tell you, you are in for a treat for our third session here at the business stage. Sean Finter, our next speaker, is an incredibly inspiring entrepreneur, and I've had the privilege and pleasure of knowing Sean for many, many years. I fondly remember sitting with him in New Orleans, sharing beignets and in cafe and talking about business and life. I even had the privilege of participating in one of his consultancy courses, which ran for multiple weeks and was one of the best experiences, learning experiences that I've had the privilege to experience in my life and my career. So I wish all of you a tremendously inspiring and beautiful session with Sean, who has built a very successful hospitality business, who has traveled the world, who has opened businesses all around the globe, then started to inspire other entrepreneurs and help other operators in the bar and restaurant business to be more successful. And today you will experience a little glimpse into Sean's work and his passion for hospitality and helping other people. And I find it very inspiring that not only has he proven to be an incredibly successful entrepreneur himself, but his constant wish and passion to inspire other people and help them be successful is really what, in my humble opinion, makes his work stand out from the rest. So, Sean, thank you for being here. Thanks for taking that trip from Annapolis over to small little Cologne. And I very much look forward to the session, most selfishly, and me just sitting in the audience and sitting and watching and learning. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's Sean Finter with Brand Building in the Digital Age. Sean, welcome, and thank you very much for being here with us.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you. I love a big intro like that. There's only one place to go, and that's straight down, and disappoint you guys over the next hour or so. I'm delighted to be here. I've done a lot of speaking around the world. I've been off the road for about 4 years. I don't know if you guys heard about COVID, a virus that went around in the U.S. Just kidding. I know it was global. I took 2 years off with COVID and then took another 2 years off with my family. And so now this is kind of the relaunch. I'm going to go back out and speak. And as he mentioned, you know, the idea is to try to share ideas and give you guys as much value as I can in a short period of time. So a little bit about me. I consider myself a global citizen. I was born in a small town in Canada, 2,000 people. Lived in the big city of Toronto, lived in London, England for 6 years, Sydney, Australia for 10 years, Greek islands for a little while, South Africa, and now I've been in the US for 15 years. I have 4 kids, probably my proudest work. Amazing. I've got 2 adults now, a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and 2 still in high school. You know, I realized only a few years ago that I'm a real business geek. I do love business. I think about it all the time. I listen to it. All of my friends are geeks. I also ride Harleys. I love those as well. And it's kind of, you know, the most analog thing you can do is just disconnect and just be on that bike. And you only have 2 gauges and a dirty road ahead of you. And I collect sunrises. I love to see the sun rise in the morning. I believe that, you know, most people get sunsets, but you pay a price for sunrises, right? You got to go to bed earlier, you got to get up earlier, and there's a magic to it, you know, just being alone and out there. So that's what most speakers will tell you, you know, hey, you're going to hear a lot of great things about me as we go through. I think with everybody, there's another side of the coin, and it kind of sets the context for what we're going to talk about today. So firstly, I had my first experience with mental illness through my father when I was 12 years old. He had a nervous breakdown, sole provider for the 6 of us. And that was my entry into the hospitality industry. So I got a job when I was 12 years old. You know, a big part of that was to take care of me and have the shoes that other kids had and the newest T-shirt maybe. and also to help my mom out. And my two older sisters did the same, and we kind of found a way to make it through. But that segue into restaurants changed my life. I wouldn't be here today without my first job, ironically. Like, how lucky am I? I'll tell you a little bit about it as I go today. Secondly, I have a interesting form of dyslexia. That's what my brain looks like when I think too hard. You see that effect? I don't know why the screen just went off, but I'm sure it'll come back on. So I have dyslexia. Everything is kind of backwards and mixed up in my head. It turns out dyslexia is a really cool gift. If you learn to use it and think with it, it helps me think differently. You can remove the tenses when you think. It's kind of a cool thing. Thirdly, I've been labeled a high school dropout. It's not entirely true. I was there when all my friends graduated, but I did not have the credits to get through school. They believed at the time it was because of my mother is French-Canadian, so they labeled me as French-Canadian, but it turned out it was a dyslexia that held me back. So I learned to read when I was 21 years old and kind of fell in love with it at about 22. I've had my own mental health issues. As you guys know, this industry's tough, entrepreneurship's tough, and I went through some tough family things. So, a lot of my clients that I work with, kind of the first step to healing, I believe, is talking about it, and it's okay. Like, we all get sick at some point. So, and then, what did I put the fifth one? Divorce. Well, anyone been through a divorce? That's ugly, right? Get rid of half your money quickly and give the other half to your lawyer. So that sucks. So life's messy. I think the one way to combat the mess is to do well in your family and in business. So I want to share with you a few ideas. But before I do, we're going to talk about marketing. What is marketing? Who can help me with this? This is a participation portion. Who can tell me what marketing is? Don't tell me you all came to find out what it was. Yes, sir. Bring a product to the market. Okay. What else is marketing? Pushing an idea? Okay. Sure. Back there.
Creating a desire for something.
Creating a desire for something? Okay. Yeah. Communication? Okay. Yeah.
I would say it's like a complex process that is like, there's no start or end of marketing. It's something that goes the whole time in your business.
It's almost like I've planted him in the audience. Good work. That's very good. I think everybody's right in what you said, and it is complex. And I think in order to solve problems, we have to make them simple, right? We have to start with the end in mind and say, what are we actually trying to do? So if I owned a bar here in town and I was responsible for marketing, I'd have to say, okay, well, what exactly is it that I'm trying to do? For me, marketing is just two things: to make people aware that I'm here and to build trust with them. If they don't know I'm here, they can't come and buy from me. If they don't trust me, they won't come inside. So when I think about marketing, this is a loop in my head, and I'm going to show you how I do that today. How do I make people aware, not just the primary offer, but of everything that I've got going on, and how do I build trust inside that cycle? If you do those two things, you win. My companies have worked with almost 10,000 bars and restaurants around the world. Less than 1% are efficient marketers. Most of them are spammers, throw bullshit out there, pretty pictures on social media. None of it's effective. In fact, some of it's extremely detrimental to their business. All our eyes went to that yellow dot, right? We're hardwired to look for the difference and filter everything else out, right? So you don't want to be everything else, saying exactly what everyone else is saying, all the same bullshit that people are saying, same pictures they're putting up. So what I do with my clients, first off, is say, listen, you got all this stuff that you want to say. What's the 20%? What's real and what's important and what can we not do without? Right? That's the first step, is to lay it all on the table and to push 80% of it to the side. Does anybody still have a filing cabinet? Am I the only one that has a filing cabinet? I put shit in my filing cabinet that I never want to see again. I don't even know if it's still in there. I just keep putting things in there. I want you to put 80% of things in your mentally filing cabinet and get rid of it. The other half of this, the digital side, we're not going to spend a lot of time on today. All of you have more technology power in your pocket right now than NASA had in the late 70s, early 80s, right? Right on your iPhone. So you don't have a technology problem. You might not know how to use it, but you've got it. You've got it available to you. And just in case you're curious, you know, I could run and develop a multi-million-dollar business with this here. An iPhone, ChatGPT, CapCut, HubSpot, and YouTube. Most of that stuff's free, and we could develop millions of dollars together just using those things. You don't need a laptop, don't need a desk, don't need an office. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. And then that's what marketing looks like when you crank it up, right? You're just plugging into a big amp. If you get everything set up and you've got the right message and you push it to the right amp, you're going to have a big impact. So the problem is the message, right? Not the messenger, right? It's not Facebook's fault. It's not Instagram's fault. They're changing the algorithm on me. All bullshit, right? Once you get the message right and you connect to the right audience, things are going to work out. So years ago, I was living in Sydney. There was a speaker that I wanted to hear who was speaking at LAX. I flew from Sydney to LAX, but my flight was delayed. I nearly missed it. I finally got there, and he only spoke for about 8 minutes, and the fire alarm went off. And they resumed it for the next day, but I had to be back in Sydney, a 16-hour flight from there. And it was totally worth it. Entirely worth it. I didn't ask for a refund. I was there for 8 minutes, and I got my money's worth. So if the fire alarm is going to go off in 8 minutes, I want to give you something right up front here, because I don't know how things work here. When I was working in London, I went from a bartender to a manager to a multi-site manager, and I was 25 years old. At 25 years old, luckily, I knew everything. Anyone been 25 before? You know everything, right, at 25? It's not until you're 50, you know, you don't know shit, right? But at 25, I knew everything. I was very lucky, and I wanted to start a bar. So I went to my mentor, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to move to Sydney, Australia, and I'm going to start a bar. And he said, yeah, I've been to Sydney multiple times. There's too many bars there, just like London. There's a lot of bad bars in London. He said, I don't know that the world needs another bar in Sydney. So he asked me this question: why does the world need your bar to exist? All right, think about that. Not why does the world need bars to exist, but your bar in particular, your restaurant in particular, your pub in particular. Why does the world need you to exist? I nearly ended my quest because I didn't really know. Does the world really need another bar? Last night we went down a street, had 8 bars on it. That bar's got I think that street's enough. It doesn't need a 9th bar, right? Might make do with 4 bars, 4 really good bars rather than average bars, right? So why does the world need your business to exist? So this is a question that I pondered for months. And imagine my shock, because I knew everything except the answer to this question, right? And I was fucked. I'm like, wow, what do I do with this? So I thought about it, and he then explained to me, I said to him, well, if I can figure that out, how do I win? Like, he had turned around over 150 bars, restaurants, and pubs, taken them out of bankruptcy, made them successful. One of the most successful turnaround artists I've ever known. And he said, Sean, this is the secret number, 555. He said, this is the smallest viable audience for a bar or restaurant. I said, smallest viable audience. Everyone's talking about the biggest audience. How do I get more customers, more people? He said, no, you got to focus on the smallest viable audience. So here's what that looks like. This is me at 25. I was skinnier then, confused, and I was bald. He said the first 5 is a nucleus, right? When you start a business, if you can't get 5 people to be as crazy about the idea as you are, to be willing to risk something like you will, to say the same things over and over again, to lose sleep over not being open yet, it's probably not going to work, right? If it's just you, you probably are crazy, right? It's not going to go. If you can't convince 5 other people. Those could be investors, that could be your family, that could be your future general manager, whoever it is, right? What is that nucleus? How do you get started? Secondly, depending on the size of your bar, it varies, but you're going to need some people to work with you, right? A crew of people that you're going to spend more time with than your loved ones. And then thirdly, this is a kicker, you're going to need to form a tribe of 500 raving fans. Anyone familiar with that term, raving fans? I don't mean regular customer. I mean that annoying knucklehead that comes into your place all the time, that tells us stories, that drags people in, that's like, you know we open at 11, he's there at 10:55, wants to introduce you to his boss, you know that guy? He's got all the ideas, bad ideas, and sharing all the time, but he's a great, great member of your tribe, right? To create 500 of those. And he said, when you do that, 500 times 10 to 5,000, and this thing starts to roll, right? And you got to keep serving your tribe. So that's how I've made my businesses work. I put my business up against people that had 50,000 followers, international companies, and crushed them in the market. Crushed them. 500 raving fans against 50,000 followers. 5 million followers. I don't care how many you have. They're not raving fans. They're not even customers most of the time. They just like your pretty pictures or whatever it is that you're putting up. So to think through a lens for a second, and I'm going to encourage you guys to do this with all of the problems that you have in your business. Anyone have any other problems in their business besides marketing? Or is it just this? You tick this box and you're set? You got a couple other problems? Yeah, I'm with you. I want you to think about, instead of how do we guarantee, or how do we be successful, how would we guarantee failure when it comes to marketing? Right? And the godfather of inverse thinking is this fellow here, who actually just died a few months ago. This is Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's business partner and best friend for many, many years. Charlie died about 100 days before his 100th birthday, which kind of sucks. I was hoping he'd live till 100. One of the richest men in the States. Berkshire Hathaway's their investment vehicle. But Charlie's famous for saying, he understands the human brain, and it's hard for us to identify our pleasures, all the positives in life. If I said to you, what are you really grateful for today? Give me 10 things you're really grateful for. Right? 2 or 3 will pop right away, and then you're like thinking about it. If I said, give me 10 problems you got right now, I have to stop you at 50. Right? People can really identify problems. Our brain's wired to identify problems. So when I look at marketing, here's 5 ways to guarantee that you're going to drive your business in the toilet quickly. Number 1, be boring and safe. Right? Boring is done. It's covered. Millions of people are doing it. No one gives a shit about it. Number 2, outsource your marketing. Right? The core story of your business that attracts your tribe, that attracts your crew, that makes it work, you're going to give to a guy named David you've met once that works at an ad agency. He's a dizzy guy, runs in with papers all the time. He's always got a new idea, but he doesn't know anything about your business. Right? So just outsource it to him. You'll be guaranteed to fail. Have no plan. Right? There's no schedule, no plan with marketing. It's like when I get to it. It's just not that important. Make it infrequent. Do it a lot, and then do none, and then do it a lot and do none, right? That'll win. And then be incongruent. Tell your audience something, have them come into your bar and experience something totally different. You do these 5 things, I guarantee you your business will fail pretty quickly. This is why 8 in 10 bars around the world fail. It's not even that they suck at marketing, they just don't do any marketing. They totally ignore it, or they outsource it, or when they do it, they do a terrible job of it. So what I want to do today is show you the formula that I use to do that. When you do that, then you move on to discounts. You alter your offer because people aren't getting it. You chase new markets and you humiliate yourself, and then you declare bankruptcy. So that's how you get to those steps really quickly. You want to accelerate, just do those 5 things, and you're on your way. Having said all of that, here's a disclaimer. I am not a marketing expert. So you can leave now if you want. I am not a marketing expert. And when it comes to technology, I can honestly barely figure out my telephone, but I can show you how to run this. My first business was the one that I left London to go start in Sydney. And I had this philosophy on how I was going to assemble my nucleus, attract my tribe, and serve my market. My little restaurant company, so it was 2 years later, I was 27, and I knew even more at that point than everything. I bought my first venue then. 5 years later, I sold a group with 8 properties. 7 I bought out of bankruptcy. So I knew they sucked before, right? Someone had done the research, put a ton of money against it, drove the market into the ground, and then declared bankruptcy. And then I came in and bought the business, usually for $1, took on a bit of debt, and battled out of that. The most I did at these venues was paint the walls, maybe. Sometimes something needed to be added here and there. If the furniture was disgusted, I changed that, but it was mostly marketing and people and serving my tribe. And then I turned that into, we went from 0 to a $32 million a year company, sold the group at 33 to a bigger company, and started my next venture. And I like to tell my kids I'm still a recovering restaurant owner. I get the twitch about every other day. I see a place, I can do it better, I can take it on. A place goes bankrupt, I could take that over. I'm just keeping it one day at a time to keep out of owning restaurants. I started Barmetrics. Anyone heard of Barmetrics company? Nobody? A few people. I started this company as I was selling the restaurants. The goal was to help 10 other people. To help them do what? My promise was running bars and restaurants or owning them is very difficult, and it can bust up your family, it can bust up your health, it can ruin your life if you don't do it right. So I said, yes, I'll help you be more successful. I'll show you all the formulas, but I'll also show you how to live a healthier life and avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made. Some of the mistakes that I made were thinking that working 100 hours a week was a badge of honor, right? That's a fool's game. You know, being at work when my daughter was taking her first steps. You want to talk about regrets? Those are some of the regrets that I have. Drinking my calories. Coffee, I love Coca-Cola. And when I had my restaurants is when Red Bull came out. Like, what a benefit to have an extra thing to drink every day to make you high as a kite, tons of calories. So I ballooned up to 300 pounds and nearly died of a heart attack. So that's the other side of the coin, right? Made a lot of money in restaurants, but nearly killed myself. So I started Barmetrics to help 10 other people to avoid that. I had 100 clients. I turned it into a consulting business. I had 100 clients in about 14 months. And then when I sold it, we had 28 offices in 8 countries around the world, and using the exact same marketing formula I'm going to give you today, right? That's what did it. That's how we built it. One person at a time. I was flying over Denver, Colorado. Has anyone been on a plane when you hit the air pocket and the plane drops? Right? Everyone screams like you're going to die, and it's, you know, it's terrifying. Well, it happened twice, and the second time was even worse. And all the bags that come down, people were like 2 seats back that weren't wearing their seatbelt. You know when they say wear your seatbelt when you're not in the bathroom? I wear my seatbelt when I'm not in the bathroom after that flight. I don't want to wind up 2 seats back. And the plane landed in at LA, and I realized, man, I haven't written anything down. I haven't told my kids about like my personal life. I haven't written down anything about business. I had 4 children, but nothing written. So I furiously scribbled notes for 6 weeks and wrote a book called Business of Bars. And Business of Bars, I had a lot of mentors, and I made 5 copies at a Kinko, and they were like this thick, and then put them in the mail. It cost like $1 billion to mail it to people. And one of those mentors was a great gentleman who passed away recently, named Ivan, who became the global CEO of Diageo. At the time, he was the North American director. And Ivan was flying from London to Mumbai, and I marked some pages for him to read. I didn't expect him to read the whole thing. He read the whole thing on the flight. He landed, he called me, and he said, hey, Sean, I want to buy this. This is awesome, I want to buy it. I'm like, really, you want to buy it? I thought, man, overnight, I'm an instant bestseller. This guy's got 15,000 employees, right? Like, wow, what a boondoggle this is. He goes, no, I want to buy the rights, and we're going to take this around the world and teach people how to run bars. So Business of Bars turned into partnering with them, and we brought it into 52 countries around the world. And I went to 30 of them. Imagine going to 30 countries and opening up a program. It was one of the thrills of my life. Finally, the last company, and this is the one I'm still run, I just work with entrepreneurs now. And I like to solve interesting problems for interesting people and coach them on the basics of business, to be remarkable at the basics in business. Most of them are independent, some international clients, and some public companies I work with. And I like to create outliers. Some of my clients, some of these people here are examples of outliers that do 3 times, 4 times their revenue in the space that they're in, make 6, 8 times the profit that an average business like it would make, get a disproportional share of media, all those sorts of things. And how do you do that? With brilliant marketing. So this is who I feel like, Forrest Gump, because no high school diploma, kind of global gypsy, and every project that I've worked on, you know, I've worked really hard, but I've used the same formula and it keeps working. My eldest daughter said, Dad, if you're Forrest Gump, you're this version of Forrest Gump. Not the younger one, but... so fun fact, okay? All that said, I have never employed a marketing person. You will not meet anyone who's worked for me that worked in marketing, because I've never had a marketing person, ever. And can consider, I had a franchising company where you're obligated to have a marketing person. So by default, I had to be the marketing person. I hate being on an org chart, but you have to, so it was me. Number 2, I've never paid for advertising. Not a dollar in any country around the world. Won't pay for it, don't need to. If you got good stuff and you're talking from the heart, and you know your audience, you don't need someone in between asking you for money to talk to your audience. Number 3, I've never employed a salesperson. No one's ever worked for me before that has a card that's a salesperson trying to sell shit. Everyone that's worked for me believes in what we do, and by default, sales is a transfer of enthusiasm, right? Imagine how lucky I'd be to find a total stranger who believes whatever he or she wants to believe, and then they suddenly get enthusiastic about what I'm doing, right? I just have people that I work with, and they tell other people about it. Customers tell other customers about it, and suddenly we grow these businesses, and they work. So how? How do you do that? Here's a simple formula here. Make a promise, right? Figure out what the promise is that you can make that your tribe would be interested in acquiring. Work to over-deliver on that promise, right? Get up every day and fight for that promise and make sure it's being delivered. And then you have raving fans, drag their friends in, and that's how these businesses grow. Or you pay someone to say something, and hopefully the people come in and hopefully they come back. But again, this is why 8 and 10 businesses fail. So I'm going to give you guys a 5-step blueprint. Will that be helpful, how I do this? Specifically how this works, right? And if you do this, I promise you it'll work. It's never not worked. I've had, nearly 10,000 clients, about 9,200 clients. And it always works, to varying degrees, of course, right? People that lean in and do it better, they're more honest, they're more courageous, they get better results, but it always works. So let me show you what it looks like. Number one, in Australia, this is the philosophy there, not like the Greeks. Australians are very crude people, and I like that about them. They say that you can't polish a turd, right? So if you've got a mess on your hands, I suggest that you start at the beginning rather than try to polish a turd. There's always an exception to the rule. Anyone ever see Mythbusters? This guy polished elephant shit, and he proved that you can polish a turd, which means I've got to get rid of these slides. But you ever seen a guy that happy holding 2 pieces of shit in his hand? That's really something. So if you're going to go under the hood, first thing I do with my clients is have a look at the beginning, right? Like, why would anyone give a shit about this business, about this idea, about this message? So what I encourage the founders, the senior leadership team, is to design a business that you're going to love, because you're going to spend a lot of time with it, right? And there's almost a market for everything, right? There's a market for everything. So just develop something, have the courage to tell people what it is, and go from there. So the first question that I ask them, and you think this would be really easy to answer, is like, what business are you in? Like, what do you do? How would you guys answer that question? What business are you in? Hospitality?
Keepers business.
What is it?
Keepers business.
Keepers? Oh, people business. Okay, yeah. Okay. What else? In moments? Entertainment? Okay. These might all be right answers, right? Oh, dropped on that. For me, I was never in the food business, really. I sold food. I like food. I like cocktails. I like entertainment. I like design. But I was truly in the hospitality industry, right? So then you got to go a layer deeper and say, well, what does that mean? What does hospitality actually mean? Well, and my father used to say, you can't ride 2 horses with one ass, right? You can't be the best at food and the best in hospitality. I've never met anyone that is. I met people that are really good at hospitality and pretty good at food, but it's very difficult to be good, really good at everything, to own a market or own several markets at the same time. So for me, this is what hospitality means. It's about how a person feels about themselves while they're in my company, which makes the hospitality business one of the most difficult in the world. Think about that. We're going to employ people who likely don't want to be working in the hospitality business in 2 years, 5 years' time. We're going to give them the benefit of minimum wage in most countries. We're going to ask them to work opposite hours of their friends and family. We're going to say, listen, we want to make your job difficult, so we're going to turn the lights way down, turn the music up as loud as we can so you can't hear the customers ordering things. Not hard enough, we're going to get everybody drunk, so they're slurring and acting irresponsible, and your job is to impact the way that they feel. 22-year-old's going to impact the way a 52-year-old feels. And we only want you to do that like 200 or 300 times a night, and then you can clean this shit up and go home and come back tomorrow and do the same thing again. I can't see why 8 of 10 bars fail, right? It seems easy, doesn't it, when you lay it out that way? So figuring out how to do this, to build a system, to train that's what I got into the business of doing. I got really clear on what it was that I wanted to do. And then secondly, I had to figure out who I wanted to do that with, right? Who am I going to get up every day and spend more time with than my girlfriend, than my children, than my best friend? Who are these people, right? Where are they from? And by the way, this is your marketing team, if you do have a marketing team, right? They're those people that you work with, that you ignore, that you talk over, and you talk to the general public, but you don't really send all the messages that they need to them. So when I look to assemble a team, I'm looking for the right people to work with, not necessarily the best people, right? So what are the right people? How would you know what the right people even look like? You guys know these guys? So these are right people? If you want to put together a soccer team, that looks good to me. I don't know much about soccer, but they look pretty serious. Anyone like Queen? Right? This is a crew, right? Freddie gets all the credit. How did Freddie do when he went out on his own? Had all the money and opportunity in the world. Failed miserably without his crew. In fact, I'm one of the biggest Freddie Mercury fans. It's painful to listen to his music on his own. Right? He was in check by this brotherhood here. Allie's from New Jersey. This is what she thinks of when she thinks of a crew. You know what they say about people from New Jersey, that your friends will help you move, but someone from New Jersey to help you move a body? Is that true? All right, I know you can't read this from there, so I'm going to give you the slides, and I'm going to give you some of these tools. Has anyone ever assembled an architecture stack for their business? Okay, this is a tool just to think through your business. So firstly, all these words seemed like bullshit when I first saw them. You know, your mission, your vision, eagles flying, you know, hanging there, the kitten hanging from the branch. I thought, man, this is all bullshit. Positioning statement, value proposition, and tagline. If you start here with any company and labor over it and think about it, and then talk to those 5 other people and see if this resonates, right? Does this make any sense to you? Let me give you an example here, just the first one. So this is from, and this will show you, you know, being young and, you know, immature and arrogant. I'll come back to this in a second. The mission of this company, my restaurant company, was a stage for fellow misfit toys to find out what they're truly capable of. Nothing about food, nothing about drinks, nothing about lighting, right? This is what I set out to do. I was labeled as a misfit my whole life up to owning restaurants. Even working in the industry, my friends at home said, when's Sean going to get a real job? You know, when's he going to get fit in somewhere? And, you know, it's this misfit toy that's out there. But think about this. This is the same statement broken down into 5 pieces. A stage means this is temporary, and we're not looking necessarily for your authentic self. By the way, your customers are not looking for your authentic self, right? You walk up to the bar and say to the bartender, hey, how are you doing today? Glad you asked. My right foot is soaking wet. My lower back's hurting me. My girlfriend left this morning. I'm sure there was 20 euros on the dresser, and I'm not sure if she stole it. I don't trust the guy that I work with, and I'm worried about the state of the economy. Nobody wants to hear that from a bartender, right? They want a professional standing in front of them, there to make their day, right? So we say, hey, we've got this stage. We dropped off there again. Number 2 here. Let me kill that. Number 2 says, fellow misfit toy. So I'm looking for people like me, right? I'm not looking for the best guy. I'm looking for people that have been told that they weren't good enough. The 3rd piece of this was to find out, right? So that's what I'm saying. If you feel that there's something missing in your life that you want to find out about. 4th is it's about you, not about us yet. And 5th, what you're truly capable of. If you think there's more potential than what your school teacher told you, maybe what your father told you, what your neighbor told you, your last boss that fired you, if you feel you're not that person, this might be the stage to prove it on. When I sold my company in Sydney, I had assembled 396 misfit toys that all got to come and prove themselves. We had, I don't know exactly, but well over 10,000 applications to work with us. Turns out there's a lot of misfits in Sydney and everywhere else I've worked, right? But these are me, these are my people. From that group, 22 today are business owners. More than 150 are leaders, they're managers. They are senior directors, right? And a good portion of them are still in the industry. So again, that was me making people aware of who we are and telling the story that you can trust us. We're one of you, right? We're talking the same language. Once we have that, this keeps dropping off. Once we have that up on the screen, I'm going to give you guys this funnel. You can build that into a funnel that works online. You just keep feeding the funnel, and it'll keep driving the right people. Is it hard to get people in Germany to come and work for you? Are you having a hard time finding staff? Anybody? Yeah, most people are having a hard time finding staff. Yeah. If you do this, it becomes a lot easier. I'm not saying it solves all the problems, but we used to measure qualified candidates per job opening. And when I left, we were just below 30. So 28 A players, not just 28 people applied, 28 A players were applying for one opening. Those are really good numbers because we built this machine. Then once you do that, you can build into understanding the character of those people, the values, and the business environment they may thrive inside of. Right? So there's a whole formula here to getting the right crew. Number 3, I then picked the tribe to lead. Right? I wanted to decide who now I'm going to serve. You can do that. You can't decide who comes in every day, but the core group of customers that came in, this was my first tribe when I was a kid. Does anyone have a mullet? Was that popular here in Germany when you were younger? No, it wasn't very popular? Yeah. So that was my original tribe when I was a kid. It's a bad look then, I think a bad look today. My second tribe was Jeeps. I didn't even know. I was able to buy a little Jeep, and the minute I bought a Jeep, everyone had a Jeep. You ever notice that? You get something and then you notice it everywhere, right? And then all these people wave to each other when you drive down the road. It's a really bizarre phenomenon, but they're part of a tribe. I love the motorbike. Allie and I go all over the place. I love the motorbike by myself too. It's a very humbling feeling. It's a very beautiful feeling. I like to motorbike with old guys in Mexico. That's Guillermo Souza from Fortaleza. We bike every 3 or 4 times a year around Jalisco, and we go all over for 5 days. And the next slide here is a bunch of dirty bikers. So this is a tribe of industry people. If you ride, we've got guys that ride adventure bikes and guys that ride big Harleys, and we go and do these awesome trips together all over Mexico. So you can form a tribe around anything. And you know a tribe when you see one. You know who these guys are? The Maasai? Yeah. They got the uniform, the smiles on their faces, the whole deal. You notice a new tribe member? You notice when someone doesn't fit into a tribe, right? That's just not his people. Oh, we lost it again. I'll wait till he pulls this back up. So my encouragement there is to, there's Allie riding a horse into a bar. My encouragement there is to really think about who you want to serve and then what turns them on. What would get them excited and bring them back? Let me come back to that. Number four is to keep your promises, right? This is where, if you've done all this, this is where most bars and restaurants fall down. They say things through their marketing message that they don't back up inside the store. Anyone ever used the Net Promoter Score? Does anyone use that for their business? If you take nothing away from today, there's a book called The Ultimate Question. This book and this score will change your business tomorrow. The Ultimate Question asks one and maybe 2 questions, but you can do it with just 1 question. The question is, you ask a guest who's just had the experience, maybe they get a text, or maybe you ask them on the way out the door to fill out a little form, and it's as simple as this. How likely are you to recommend us to your family and friends? And it's on a scale of 1 to 10. They just circle a number. That number is incredibly compelling. So what that number tells you is from 0 or 1 to 6, they're detractors of your business. That means they will walk out and tell someone to avoid you. 6 out of 10 doesn't sound so bad to me, but it's terrible. 7s and 8s are entirely neutral. They're passive. It means, hey, we had a deal. I came in, I saw the prices, I saw the chair, I ate some food, had a drink, you gave me a bill, I paid for it, and we are done. And I might not remember you tomorrow, I'm gone. Only 9s and 10s are going to promote your business. Only 9s and 10s are promoters of your business. Here's what they look like. Look how happy the 9s and 10s are. The detractors aren't very happy. The passes are somewhere in between. So if you have a hospitality operation, you've got to design an experience that solicits a 9 and 10 on a regular basis, right? Very tough to do, but not impossible. So how you do that? Remarkable by design. I'll give you guys, if you want it, I'm going to put my email up at the end, a video on how to do this, how to design the experience from the minute someone walks in the door, the host stand, the bar, here, there. How do you rig the game so that you're getting 9s and 10s? What is it that turns your tribe on, and how do you deliver on that? Right? I've done this personally at maybe 300 businesses. It always takes a business to the next level. Very simple to do. If this, then that. What about this? And you do it with your host team. You do it with your bar team. I'll give you the process. Once we have that, we can treat people like they want to be treated, right? The golden rule says treat people like you want to be treated. I don't want to be treated like a 22-year-old, right? I want to be treated like I want to be treated. So on the left, on the x-axis, you're seeing here the frequency. Green means they're new to the business, maybe first time. Blue square is intermediate. Black are regulars. Double black diamonds are super fans, right? These are the raving fans of our business. And down here, where do they come from? You know, they're local, they're walk-ins, they're from the city, or they're from outside of town. Inside of that, those 9 boxes, that's where the starting place for the experience starts. Right? You don't tell a super regular, you know, what you're known for. They know, they made you known for it. And you don't tell someone who's come in from out of town what the specials are that you're trying to get rid of. You want to hook them and get them with the things that you're known for. And you build the experience out from there. So designing that is important. We had a physical aspect to this. So if I had a restaurant and we had a host stand, the host would say, hey, how are you guys? Or it's on the reservation. A group of 4, on average, they're very new to the business. If they were new to the business, they were given the card on the far right. And that was their cocktail card or a wine card. So when that hit the table or hit the bar, everyone that was serving them knew this is where the experience starts, right? They're here. Intermediate was the middle card, and then our regulars was this card here. So it doesn't matter if the bartender's only been with us for 2 weeks. That bartender already knows that this is an experienced guest, and we're going to start their experience here and take them to the next level. That makes sense? Right? You do this, you're kind of rigging the game as you go. And then obsess over the fan experience. I like the Dead, I like them more for marketing than music, but these guys, they reinvented music, right? Or that genre of music, or maybe even created their own genre of music. 5th and final here is, I think we have to go back to our roots. Bars and restaurants and pubs were notoriously owned and operated by storytellers, right? It's where we exchanged the town's news. It's where we got to know each other. It's where you got introduced to people. So we need to get back to that. But we need to be bold, consistent, real, and raw about it, rather than just glossy bullshit that a marketing company might do for you. This guy is a pretty good storyteller, right? Product launch, 2 hours and 15 minutes on average. A 2-hour and 15-minute commercial, and he kept people hanging on the edge of their seat. Now the remote's not working.
You're up there now.
Oh.
They've got it. I'm going to move this.
How does this work? The remote? Oh, there we go. This guy's a pretty good storyteller, right? Doesn't outsource his marketing. This guy's a good storyteller. He just played the Jazz Fest in New Orleans, 81 years old, still telling stories from the stage, right? Fresh, new. So here's the formula for this. I love social media. I think it's a great place to start to capture information, but you put up a social post and you get these followers, right? It's really cool. But if you stop there, it's useless. So you take that message to the followers, and then you start to drop it into a funnel. Then they become contacts when they put their hand up. They want to attend an event, they want to do something, they want an article, whatever it is you do to get them to put their hand up. Once we have a contact in a restaurant or bar environment, and we either have an email or phone or both, you're in business. Right now you can talk directly to your audience. You don't have to pay Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn to talk to the people who already want to talk to you. Right? You have permission to talk to them. Then we build a connection. My kind of marketing messages, I have things that I say to my staff, things I say to my suppliers, and things I say to the greater community. Right? These are 3 different constituencies. And with my customers, right, once I convert them into a tribe member, I have them in sub-tribes. And this is what that might look like here. So, again, over here, we've got our double black diamonds, means our tribe members, our regulars, intermediate, and aware. With aware, we want to nurture them. Intermediate, we want to entice them. Regulars, we want to over-deliver. Tribe members, we want to enrich their lives with cool, interesting things and realness. They want to be part of the adventure. So we've got our 500 raving fans here. This is what I love about technology. I'm using this now. We have 500 raving fans, and I have a core message that I'll write, maybe weekly. Let's say I commit to a weekly communication. And then with ChatGPT, I can actually affect the tone. You can put in the filter to say, hey, I want this to empathetic or this or that or excited, whatever, and adjust your tone. Your tone could be, you know, your favorite movie star. Or you can adjust these things. It's really cool. And then I have my tribes. I have people that have put their hand up for food events, beverage events, live music, lunch, happy hour. I had Harley riders I had 86 Harley riders out of my restaurants in Sydney. Those 86 Harley riders had 10 friends each, so I had 860 customers that no one else was marketing to. Right, I had 1,000 free customers because no one cared about that. And then I attach to that core message, specific message to that audience, and then if there's a call to action on that. Right, so now I can write one message, top up these funnels here, and blast out to a database of 20,000 people, 14 different messages in the right tone. Right? I can do more today in 15 minutes than I used to be able to do when I had restaurants, literally in 15 hours. You guys are very lucky to have this technology. You just have to learn how to use it and know how powerful it is. People always say, well, what do I write about or what do I say? I'll give you this. I based it on Jerry Seinfeld in Not Breaking the Chain. He said, if you write for 100 days in a row, something magical happens. If you market for 100 days in a row, something magical happens. You can't break the chain, though. Every day. Writer's block is a myth. It's bullshit. Just push through it. Figure out something. And here, I've got about 20 different topics. You pick a topic, you riff on it, you ask ChatGPT to help you, and you talk to your audience, and you keep building your tribe. That's it up close. It's pretty. Those are the 5 steps. That's what I do to build these companies. Again, I don't have a marketing company. I don't have a sales company. I just do exactly what I said. I build databases, build offers, make people really happy, and then share the cycle through. So I wanted to save some time for questions, and this is that time. It's my friend here. The only rule with the question session is one at a time. I don't want people to be unruly or, talking over each other. I'm just kidding. Yeah, man. And people love the microphone, don't they?
Yeah. So in the beginning you said, you mentioned mistakes you made or things you regret. One of them being missing the first steps of your daughter because you were at work. Maybe it's a very, very specific question, but how can you avoid that? Because if you have family and you do want to build a business, how can you avoid that? Yeah,
it's a good question. I'll take it from a slightly different angle. People ask me all the time, is it possible to have a healthy family inside of a hospitality business? Back then I would have said no, right? I only said that because I didn't know how to do it. And I actually didn't see much evidence of it, right? Most people I knew were divorced, unhealthy, they had a lot of bad habits, or they wanted to get healthy and they sold and left, right? So today I'm very proud to say that I coach a lot of great entrepreneurs who are very healthy, Some of them have got sober, some of them got their physical, and it's about setting priorities and parameters, and taking care of yourself. I don't think you can take care of anybody else unless you can take care of yourself. And then doing the boring work until it becomes exciting, right? Like this stuff here, when I first started doing it, wasn't very exciting, but I can take a business that's doing, if I took over a little pub group, say they're doing 10 million euros a year, if I can turn that into a 30 or 40 million dollar, I'm not saying that buys your health, but it buys you time and space, and you can do different things when you're in a different position. So I think getting really focused and disciplined and saying no to a lot of things. Warren Buffett said the difference between millionaires and billionaires is billionaires say no to almost everything. They know what the main thing is and what they got to accomplish this year, not today, this year, and they do that and they say no thank you to everything else. When I started doing that, I took control of my life again. You're welcome. Other questions? I'm flying home soon, you better ask. I'm here. No one asked what my day rate is. You don't want to know about that. This is free right now. Oh, there we go.
I want to ask a question about what you were referring to beforehand. You were talking about to be different in marketing and not do what everyone else does, post the pretty pictures and everything on Instagram. My question is just facing these algorithms that we are seeing on social media. How, if I post an artistic post or something like a bit outside of the box, a bit different, I directly notice that the views are dropping, everything is dropping.
Yeah.
And then I start doing the pretty pictures again, doing everything, the conventional marketing again.
Right. Yeah, you go back to what you know.
How do you escape? Because it's only working to be very different if you have like something big? How do you escape this algorithm thing?
Okay, this is another plant in the audience. I've asked him to ask this question. I want to show you some. That's a perfect question. So let me show you something. A lot of people approach the marketing. Ali, can you go back to find it where the computer is there, and go back to business coaching is boring. So,
because maybe there was another talk yesterday about social media, and they had an amazing social media platform with like doing memes, referring to their customers and everything, doing a really, really great job at marketing. And then I was like, oh, they must have like 50,000 followers. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, sometimes there's 20 likes on their pictures. And I was like, but they're doing it the right way, but they're not being successful with it.
So you made a lot of good points there. So for one, likes and all that stuff doesn't mean a lot to me. I've put up a post before, had 1 like on it. It might have been my mother, I don't know, but I had 1 like, and I did $500,000 in business. 1 post. The people don't have to like it to buy it, to get in touch with you, to say I'm interested, like, you know what I mean? Like, and most marketing is totally segregated. Like someone's trying to think of what are people going to like. My point today is they got to like what you're already doing. And you got to market what you're doing rather than try to figure out a pretty picture or an algorithm. I put in this example because of all the businesses I've had, this is the least sexy, right? I've done really cool businesses, and this one, like business coaching, right? Spreadsheets, numbers, bullshit, whatever. I don't think it is boring. So my business coaching group, we just got together in Tequila, Mexico recently. So we all flew in on airplanes, right? Not very exciting yet. They didn't know who was coming. Right? So all these different people from different countries, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. And old friends reconnecting, right? I've got hundreds of photos of this. These are real photos. So they're all like, fuck, this is amazing. This is my friend Pancho. He's a certified lunatic, right? Lives in Guadalajara. His business is Better Call Pancho. If you ever go to Guadalajara, you better call Pancho. This guy knows everyone, and he can he said with a cell phone and a credit card, he could organize the Mexico Olympics tomorrow. He knows shit. Right? And he has the most incredible stuff from all over the country that you can't get. So there's Pancho there. They're like, this guy's incredible. I can't believe this. Next morning, we get up early, and we go out in the field. This is a father and son team, very good friends of mine from Antonacio. And we go out and say, well, how do you make tequila? Well, fuck, go dig it out of the ground, see how hard that is, right? Or plant it, and then we're going to harvest the plant together, drenched in sweat, right? Figure out how this works. People can't believe how hard tequila is. Get into the classroom. They're crying. This guy's from Romania. The other guys from the US, we're all happy to see each other. We get in, we do some work, right? Business coaching. We better learn something while we're here. Then we're out tasting, right? Really cool. Some of these people have never tasted before, right? Guillermo Souza, we're in the cave. He's got a natural cave, and we're in there tasting, and the stories, and the fucking government's fucking me every day, and all the beautiful stories. Ali then rides a horse into a bar, La Capilla, in town. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but make something cool, fun, interesting happen. The bartender wasn't ready to drink, so I made the batangas, right? 22 batangas I made, I got behind the bar. In Mexico, you can pay for anything. Give them some money, you can do whatever the fuck you want. We get back to have dinner. It was my buddy Rex, it was his birthday. Now he's in the mariachi band, right? See, the tribe, which of these guys belong to the tribe, right? Again, marketing is make people aware what you're doing. So does that make sense? Like we are marketing the shit that we're doing. And the fact is it doesn't appeal to everyone. But I'm not trying to appeal to everyone. I know my tribe and I'm looking for future tribe members. And in fact, everyone else thinks that it's crazy or boring or silly or that doesn't look like business coaching. The response that I'm looking to solicit is hell yeah or fuck no. Those are really good responses to me, right? We need not have a call if you had any inkling of fuck no, right? Because if you had an inkling of fuck no from that, you don't want to know the real story, what went on over 4 days, right? But if it was hell yeah, that looks interesting, now we got a call and I'm already on the way to the sale, right? They've kind of sold themselves on seeing the tribe. That's their tribe, right? Make sense? One last question before we go. And what happened to our drink? I thought you guys were connected. Oh, you're drinking? Where was mine? The fuck? Is there one more question? I've had some good questions. All right, well, I'm going to let you guys go. I want to thank everyone here at the bar. Suppose it's my first time here. So it's a big thrill. I want to thank the team at Campari for bringing me out and spending some time together. And my friend here, who I haven't seen for a few years, we had to come all the way to Cologne to hook up. You were in DC recently,
made it happen.
and we met here. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you listening.
Thank you very, very much, Sean.